Good evening. This is 106.1 KMEL. We are now keeping you alive and free, and we have our host, Dr. Joseph E. Marshall, on 106.1 KMEL.
Good evening, everyone. Alive and Free Radio, Street Soldiers. Here we are one more time, doing our best to make it all good in your neighborhood. Hope everyone is doing well, because we know it's crazy out there. Yeah, really crazy. Hope you had a good weekend. I hope you're ready for a good show, because you're going to get one tonight. You're going to learn something tonight. Everybody out there, let me tell you, you're going to learn something tonight that is vital to your life. I'm telling you, seriously. Got a treat for you. Let's see, lady. I mean, where's she? I don't know what she is. What's up, Soul? You doing good? You doing well, sir? We had a good time yesterday at your nephew's birthday, my grandson's birthday.
Aw.
Fun. 2 years old. We had a good time, didn't we? You want to talk, or you just gonna? He's muted. The brother is muted.
Hey, just been watching the NBA playoffs as much as I can.
Hey man, look, let me tell you something. Mike, you gotta see this. This ain't partisan, man. You need to like go back and look this up, man. Look this up. Kyrie Irving did a move today that like
But they win?
no,
No, they lost.
Okay.
they lost. They were down by 31 to the Clippers and came back and took the lead, but Paul George did some magic and Harden went crazy. I have no faith in Harden in the fourth quarter, but he did it. He did it tonight. But
That was a great game.
this move that Irving did, that boy, he can Jordan can hang forever. Kyrie must be right there with him. I mean, he levitated, man, for a minute. So look at it. Hands are all around him. I mean, had like it's 6 hands around him, and he's just like, that boy is special.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, the NBA is moving on. I'm gonna take a peek a minute when we get a break. We won't see how Phoenix and the Timberwolves are doing, but I might be
Halftime right now. So I'll give you an update.
okay. Give me enough.
Looks like we got Lady E joining us.
Yeah, I don't know where she is. She out there. That's that town down there. As long as she don't root for the Cowboys, once she down there, it's cool.
No, I don't root for the Cowboys.
Don't switch up. You a Chiefs fan, you know that. You from KC, you can't
I
be.
am a Chiefs fan, and my backup is the 49ers. So Chiefs number 1, 49ers number 1.5.
How you doing? Everything good? We don't see you. Is there a reason for that?
I'm working it out.
You hiding this week? I don't know. Okay.
See,
Yeah,
Dr.
what?
Marshall,
Yeah.
I have to remind you,
Yes.
it's only 5 people that can see her.
Oh.
We have 100,000 people listening right now to her right now.
But people,
So them 5 people don't even matter. It's 100,000 people. We got more than 300,000 watts of KMEL radio.
listening power. All right.
Exactly.
But they
So the
Mike,
people that can
Mike,
see,
listen.
who cares? It's 20 people. We got
no, Mike, I
100,000
just love you. Mike, thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
I just love you. You just
right.
know what to say. You know when. Baby, you just moving at the right time.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So I can do the show my eyes closed, right? I ain't can see nothing.
Well,
No,
it
I
doesn't
understand.
matter. Are you?
Yes,
It's a audio. It's radio, my brother.
art is the most important thing. I got it. Well, listeners, we're gonna give you some news then.
There you go.
Since you are listening, what I got here. Very famous minister and passed this week, Reverend Cecil Williams.
Oh man.
of Glad Memorial Church. Man, I know.
94.
Oh, I say I didn't see the age. I knew he was up there, but wow.
Wait, who passed away?
Cecil Williams. Reverend Cecil.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
today?
No, last Monday or Tuesday, during the week. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even hear. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Anybody here not know him? I mean, I knew him pretty well.
Don't know him personally, but if you're in San Francisco, you know.
He's a San Franciscan, a San
Yeah.
Francisco institution.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
Institution.
Yeah, that's right.
And he and the church are in a linked together forever. All the work the good work that they have done over the years, and Cecil was just he was, he was a local hero, but he was really a national figure.
Yeah.
And just wow, Cecil Williams. I mean,
Man,
you know, some people you gonna think, like I said last time, you think they're gonna be here forever, right?
right.
And when we started the club, he was one of the first people that came to visit.
Wow.
I mean, those are the days we had guest speakers, right? Willie Brown came, and I remember Mayor Art Daniels came, and Cecil came, and Cecil literally gave us his, not that we need, but he gave us his blessing. He liked what we were doing, and spoke at a conference, conferences for him. But
Man,
yeah, Cecil.
Yeah.
He now joins his wife, Jan Murakami. We're both now we've lost both of them, but
Rest
I-
in peace, big brother. Thank you. Thank you
remember-
for your
yes,
work and your
Absolutely.
commitment.
Well
your
said.
service.
yeah.
Yeah.
If every minister was like Cecil, you talk about a servant. You know, that man was a servant of the people. All right, Cecil Williams.
Can I share one more person? Well, two more. There's a couple. Calvin Keys, you know, an American jazz guitarist, very popular here in the Bay Area and beyond, also passed away about 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
So I do want to send love to his family and friends who I've.
Got to know jazz and know Calvin.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And
Know him well.
one more person that I think is
Close
near
to,
and dear.
definitely to the Alive and Free Omega Boys Club family.
Yeah. Mrs. Gloria Jiggets.
Yeah.
Wife to Coach Wilbur Jiggets passed away this week as well. So
Yeah.
we just want to give people their flowers while they're here and share all the good memories while we can. And send our love to the Jiggets family as well.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Entirely different. Foreman.
And,
Hold on, let me,
and
let me,
you
get
can-
this- let me get this.
You can
man.
see Lady E now, Doc. So you know all is right in the world. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
all he needed. Filmo Mike. He just needed to see that face.
that's
You
right.
know
Exactly.
what? Listen,
I see too much of Dr. Marshall.
see,
Not enough of
I don't know what
me.
Here.
Why I gotta be the one? Why I gotta be the one? Why I gotta be the one?
You're a Laker fan.
No, I'm a LeBron fan.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Hey,
right.
hey, don't. At least we still
You like
playing.
the
Don't say,
Dodgers.
don't start.
You like the Dodgers too.
I'm a Giants fan.
Okay.
He's from L.A.
I know. I know he liked the Dodgers because of Jackie Robinson. Too.
I like the Dodgers because I'm always loved the Dodgers because Jackie Robinson. And I was born in St. Louis. I almost always loved the Cardinals. You know, you have
He
degrees.
was mad because your
You
teams
know, you
ain't
can
playing.
Hey, look, you can love a lot of things, man. You ain't gotta love just one thing. Okay.
Okay, when it comes to teams, Dr. Marshall, you have like you're all over the country.
Whatever. I got love for I ain't trying to explain this to you. All right, let's go on.
Like the Washington Bullets and
Stop.
the Eagles of
Speaking of
Philadelphia.
Speaking of sports, something nice happened this week. One of the best college football players I've ever seen,
Who's this?
Reggie Bush,
Yes.
got his Heisman
yeah.
Trophy back.
Okay.
Yeah, that is so cool,
That is
man.
cool.
Because they never should have took it in the first place. You know, I mean, you know how they for years college athletes, if you took 5 cents, the NCAA,
Yeah.
NCAA would just
Same difference. Now.
you of it's not the same difference. Will strip you everything. So apparently the thing was, you know, his mama got a house and maybe he got a car, so they took his Heisman away from him. But now, you know, athletes can earn buku money. So Reggie,
He was classy with it too when they
he
gave
was
it back
classy
to him.
with it. Absolutely.
I
classy.
wouldn't have been
What
classy.
What happened?
We was
Oh, you
mad-
know, he said the right things. Thank you, but I always knew I would get. He had a big smile on his face. Yeah, I wouldn't have been like that. I would have walked in. But give me my trophy back.
That's nice.
Come on.
How you gonna take it away to give it back? You know what I'm saying? It's like, get out of here.
That is funny.
Man, I love watching Reggie play. He might have
He
been.
was one of the most exciting players.
Ooh, man, look, I seen Reggie Bush. So congratulations, Reg. Now when the Heisman commercials come up, you're gonna be in. All right.
One more football story with the draft.
You have a draft football for us?
Yeah, I'm not even into this stuff, but to keep a tally, you know, with East Palo Alto and all of
Oh,
their
yeah.
success
right.
stories in the NFL. Menlo
You got a new
athlete
one?
Troy Franklin was selected by the Broncos.
Yeah.
in the
Wow.
NFL
EPA
draft.
got another
Another one. Okay.
Well, hold on. We're in the city of San Francisco. Ray Davis, San Francisco's own.
Okay.
He was drafted to the Buffalo Bills as well.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Big shout out to the same, you know what I'm saying? We can't go all the way to EPA before we
all the way.
Okay.
Gotta
That's
do
it.
You go to Daly City.
so.
Yeah. But if they in Filmo, you got to represent the Filmo and the San Francisco.
Man, that's
Hunters
wonderful.
Point. Shout out to my guy Ray Davis, man. Buffalo Bills.
Congratulations,
I will never root for them, but I'm a root for him.
See,
Yes, sir.
see.
And the other guy you just said,
Troy Franklin.
Troy Franklin. Shout out to Troy Franklin.
All right, that's all I got. I don't know if you got anything else we want to jump.
Anybody
in.
been on the college campus this week? It's been hot.
Well, I've been on my college campus. It has not
Oh.
been. But
No,
yes.
no protests. Did they have protests at USF?
No, not like, I mean, not when I was there. Anyway, I've been there like 3 times in the last 2 weeks. No, but every place else, yes, they are serious.
They protesting in USF?
No, they're not.
Okay.
They're not. I mean, not
They got
like,
Blackfest in Stanford next week, I
Oh.
believe. Shay Diddy is hosting. Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. And I checked out the Freaknik documentary on Hulu.
Okay, how is it? Good.
It's very informational
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. On Hulu.
on Hulu.
All right.
Wait, when you say informational, is that what is that in quotes?
No. I learned a
Because I
lot.
was there one time and I don't remember being
I
happy,
seen a lot.
getting like enlightened.
I was enlightened, all right.
Though I did, I saw some things that I remember.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I was enlightened and I learned a lot. So
Okay.
it had a lot of history. My mom actually went to Clark Atlanta University. She's a not only an alumni but a Hall of Famer. So I asked her, "Did you go to Freaknik, Mom?" Like, nah, but
Okay. She telling you the truth?
I don't know. Hopefully, but when Freaknik, what I did learn was in Freaknik in the early '80s, '83, '84, '85, it was a lot. It wasn't what we seen in
Right.
the mid
Yeah.
'90s.
Yeah. It,
But Malcolm.
yes. It digressed.
Yes.
All right, let's get to let's go. We got a special guest. We're gonna pull it in. The gift. I hope she's there. Is she there? She ain't here.
You could do the show.
Oh, this is my guest. Oh Lord, that's my guest. You just okay. Well,
We can ad lib until you get to him.
Well, Lord. Okay, let me tell you what the show was. Then I might have to change the topic if the guests don't show up. But look, the gift we give to the young people that we work with is what? Keep them alive and
Free.
right? Alive, unharmed by violence, and free from incarceration.
Sounds good.
We have a formula, a methodology. We call it a prescription. We have a prescription for doing that. And now the next big thing we do is the best thing we can do is to do what? Keep them what we call financially alive and free. Teach them about their money. So Mike, if you're gonna live a long time, you better know something about
Life insurance.
money, period. Money,
Yeah.
money, period. So that has been the second great thing that we do for our young people is teach them how to handle their money. I mean, most people call it financial literacy. We call it financially alive and free.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Honestly,
Honestly,
if we're going to be serious about kids' future,
yes.
how come San Francisco, as great as we are,
Mhm.
have not said we need a class for financial literacy?
I don't know. That
Like,
makes no sense.
It makes no sense to me.
It makes no look.
As
look.
as much money you have to live in the city, at least make us financial literate so that we ain't moving out the city.
As much money as you need to have living, period, right? You
Yes,
should
sir.
learn about money. So so let me just ask you: did you talk about money in your household? I mean,
No,
no,
not
you-
as much as we should have.
you
We talked about it, but not as much as looking back
uh-huh.
as we should have.
What did you talk about?
We talked about my mom. So my grandparents were they owned property, so she would have me write out sometimes the the bill of receipt for them, or their write out a check or whatever, a
Okay.
receipt,
Okay,
stuff like that. But we didn't talk about financial literacy
right,
as far as knowing credit, as far as
Right.
knowing if you have this, if your credit score is this,
hmm
it helps you because you don't have to pay for your car. Your car is not going to, your car note's not going to be $500. It's going to be $300 because
Right.
you have great credit
Right.
and this, that, and the third.
Well, you had to learn, like most of us, on your own, and probably the hard way.
Mhm.
We didn't talk about money at all in my house. Not at all. I mean, it was 9 of us, so I don't know if my parents had any time to talk about money, but none. I mean,
Wow.
I knew nothing about money at all, and I didn't even know what a credit score was. You know, and
Wow.
I had to learn on the fly when I was grown, and oh my God, was I bad? I fell down the rabbit hole because I just didn't know, and I don't think I talked, Malcolm. I don't think we talked to you about money either. I don't think we did. I'm sorry, son.
We had some conversations, but they weren't financial literacy. They were more
Right.
like, do you know how much money you costing me in life? You know, things like that. You know, or was mom saying, don't even think about going in my purse. You know, so stuff. Or no, you can't have that. It was stuff like that. So,
Literal financial
And
literacy.
that was,
but it wasn't
That was
education per
hilarious.
se. No, we didn't just do that.
my God.
And like you, I didn't even think about it until I was already in the hole.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
and on my
Exactly.
own. Yeah.
Do
Exactly.
y'all teach that in
Oh, that's what we're gonna get to. That's what we're gonna get to. Lady E, you're in your household. Did you
No.
have any comments? No,
No.
same thing, right?
Wow.
Yeah. And that's why you get out there, and now, and it's funny, you're 18 now, so now you're an adult and you gotta live on your own. And these young people know nothing about and if there is anything, we are consumers, right? We're basically consumers. You want. So you get what you want, and you fall into this deep financial hole that sometimes it takes a lifetime to get out of, right?
sheesh.
And so Miss Demetra, where she goes?
Hey,
Okay.
Well, you know how, takes
Miss
some
Demetra
energy.
and developed the Financially Alive and Free prescription for our young people. And before they go off to college, this is what they learn.
Wow.
They learn this. And it's this is the best thing other than keeping them alive and giving them an education that we give them is a financial education. By the way, let me do this 877-955-1061. I'd like to know from any listeners out there what they learned about money in their home
Wow.
growing up. I really want to hear because if you're like me, you don't learn nothing. And did you suffer for it? Because I certainly did. 877-955-1061. Give us a call. I'd like to find out what you learned about money growing up. So, Miss Demetra, thank you. Oh, your braids look good, girl. Okay.
I was about to say, Mr. Demetra, your hair looks so
yeah,
good.
you looking good, girl. You look like you're trying to model. All right, but it's cool. Look, he say people can't
Thank
see you.
you.
People can actually see you. Miss Demetra, I don't know if you was up in the air, where you are. I'm glad you're here. You are the guru of Financially Alive and Free. I know, because I tried to get your co-creator on. He says, "Oh, you're the best at it. You're the best."
We
at
got
it.
people. We got a caller. Can we get a caller?
We got a
real
call
quick?
already.
Already.
All right.
Just real quick. Just
Okay. No, we'll do it.
just to set the scene.
Come on and tell me what you learned about money growing up. All right, you're on Street Soldiers with the Street Soldier crew. Hello.
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 You sound rich too.
Well,
Wow, I cannot believe I'm on here right now.
you are on, honey. You are on. We're going to do with financial literacy, what we call Financially Alive and Free. But we're asking people, what did you learn, or did you learn anything about money growing up in your home, at home?
Growing up, I learned every single dollar, every single cent counts.
Good.
Mm.
Good. What did they say? And was it with your parents? Was it, what information did they give you about that?
Nah, yeah, it was my dad. He'd always tell me, "Is that a quarter? Pick up that quarter. Keep that quarter. That
Okay.
quarter means something."
Okay. So
Heard that
money,
before, too.
in a general sense, you learned about it, right? Did you learn about credit cards? Did you learn about debt? Did you learn about, we have this thing we call wants versus needs, which is a wonderful thing that Mr. Demetra teaches. Did you learn anything about that? Other than that, money is important. Kind of like,
Your needs always come first. Your wants will always come after.
oh, you did, man. Okay, all right. Mr. Demetra, you got a disciple and you didn't know it. All right, thank you so much. Keep a listen. We're
Of
going to go
course.
in depth, okay? 877-955-1061. What did you learn about money in your home? And while we're waiting, Mr. Mitra, begin. Why did you begin this Financially Alive and Free course with our young people? I know, but they don't.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, so this course started out of, it was two things. One, we noticed a lot of the students they were graduating with tons of debt, loans, and even credit card debt. That was one. And then two, my own personal finances, I wanted to tackle and become better with my own money. So I was actually the first student of the program. So that is what it was actually born out of, with the dear co-creator, Don. He always does this, throws me out there by myself, but every time I say, no, we created it together.
All right, we got a call.
So yeah.
We got a call, huh? We got a call. We're gonna take them as they come in. All right. Good.
Okay.
You are on Street Soldiers with the Street Soldier crew. What did you learn about money growing up, or did you learn anything? Because I ain't learned nothing. Go ahead.
Yeah, I basically learned that, money is important, but, I ain't never learned nothing about debt and nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So I inherited a lot of motherfucking debt.
But Lord, you can't cuss on the air, my brother. You can't do that, man. Look, he got.
Let's go back to Mr. Mitra. He's so much more positive. He messed up.
Right.
I got it.
Yeah,
it's all
okay.
good.
More callers. All right, Mr. Mitra, you're talking about your personal situation, but we call it Financially Alive and Free.
Right.
Your per answer. Why? Tell the listeners and the watchers, people who are watching, why you call it, instead of financial literacy, why we call it Financially Alive and Free.
So Financially Alive and Free, it's not, how do I say? It's a class that deals with the emotional part, the mental part, the psychological parts of money, the behaviors when it comes to our money. I think one of the big things about a lot of the financial courses, which I now can enjoy what they offer, is that they, tell us about the 401ks and the IRAs and the different accounts that we can put our money in, and brokerage accounts and interest and all that great stuff. But one thing that both Don and I noticed is, if we cannot hold on to our money to make it do what we know it can do, all this information they're giving us just falls by the wayside. So we decided to tackle finances just like we tackle violence. So when we look at our finances, and when we're not in a very great space, we, it's the disease of financial violence, And so, so many of us, especially people that look like you and I, we inherently live in a space of financial violence, and that's historical things that were not offered to us or taught to us, and then things that were also just passed on generation to generation. And it wasn't passed on in a sense of that it was bad or any sorts. It was passed on because of this is just what we know. This is what we had to do in order to survive and to make it, day to day. So now that
Hang on. Hold that thought. Here comes the call. Listen, you're on Street Soldiers talking money. We're talking about, what did you learn, or did you learn anything about money when you were growing up?
And I am Adriana from East Palo Alto. And I learned about money from my grandfather that raised me. And he told me about savings, and we would do stuff and put money in the bank. He told me about paying bills. But because he was migrated from the South and he worked at Hunters Point, he paid cash for everything.
Wow.
So I did not know about credit. And, you don't have a credit score when you're buying everything with cash.
Yeah. He paid.
At one point, I bought a house, and his. Yeah, but I was born in the 70s. So,
I understand.
And he was born. Yeah, but he taught me about finance, but only what he knew. So it depends on what era you grew up in. I was very frugal with money, and but I didn't have a good credit because I paid cash. I'm gonna tell you, Upward Credit Union taught me a lot. My credit score is very good, but
Mhm. Good for you.
you have to have some kind of credit to have a credit score,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that were older, they paid cash because they were afraid
So,
of debt.
so
you know,
was
but it doesn't help out.
yeah. So it was your dad that taught you about? Did you say a grandfather taught you
Yeah,
about
my
savings?
mom passed when I was
Yeah.
7,
Yeah.
and he taught me to save up even with allowances, and he he taught me to pretty much take cash for everything, which
Wow.
That's great.
uh,
That's great.
it is great, but it's not.
Well,
When-
well,
I
well,
get what she's saying.
yes, I know what you're saying, but
you
just
know,
the
'cause
fact
when you
you
want to buy
saved,
a house
right?
or a car,
Oh yeah,
and then
oh,
it's
yeah.
like, oh, well,
Right.
you don't have a credit score.
Right.
You,
Okay, keep
you
listening.
think you have good credit because you don't have bad credit, but no credit is almost like bad credit.
Understood. We're gonna talk about that too. Keep listening. We're gonna get some more calls. We're gonna go back. Oh, we got another one, Mr. Mitra. I want you to hear all this stuff that verifies everything you're talking about. Okay, you are on Street Soldiers. Gone. Okay, I'm doing a juggling act here. All right, Mr. Mitra, you are right. And the big difference is from the beginning. What you know it is you talk to the young people to help them understand their relationship and the way they think about money.
Mhm.
I just think that is so powerful, you know, because your thinking drives the what you do, and but they had never really thought about their relationship with money, and just talk about that part of it because it all starts with the thinking.
Yes, it all starts with the thinking, and what we think is what we're going to do. And the thinking is passed on generation to generation. I think Adriana, I believe, who just spoke, was a great example of that, right? Like she went off, she was taught how to manage her money, but it was all cash, right? And so it's
Yeah.
just, you're going to do what you're taught, you're going to do what you see. And that's consciously and subconsciously, you know. So we tackle all that. And once the hope is by July, there's some things that have been dug up, and now we can start to like replant some learning. So we're unlearning and learning. And once you're learning, then the whole thing of 401k and your credit and different forms of investing and brokerage accounts and all that, like they become beautiful options for our students because they finally see what their money can actually do. And they finally recognize just some like emotional,
That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah.
some emotional cycles that
Yeah.
they've been dealing with when it comes to their money,
Yeah.
and their relationship with their money. So yeah, it's pretty powerful.
We gotta call when we come back. I want you to talk about some of the exercises that you put them through. They get to surprise me. All right, you're on Street Soldiers. We're talking about money. What did you learn, or did you learn anything about money in your house when you were growing up? Go right ahead.
Yeah, well, most of us, you know, minorities don't really learn about finances.
Right.
But I was pretty savvy as a young kid on how to save money.
Mm.
However, when I got married, what nobody told me is who you choose as your partner, as your
Oh,
spouse,
yes, Lord.
Ooh.
Yes, Lord.
their habits bleed into your life. So if they have bad habits financially,
Mhm.
that will affect you financially and also impact your credit. Nobody told me about that.
Yeah.
It's all
yeah.
about habits.
You should see her nodding. You want to say something to her, Demetra? If you're-
Oh yeah, absolutely. Who you partner with for life, it will definitely affect you financially. And not only just partner with for life, the people that you know, your friends, your family, like all of that affects you financially. And so it's just always great to have, if it's people, and I'm not saying that you put people in your life because they're doing well financially, but just how people think and how people move financially, it affects you both, like I said, consciously, subconsciously, like it all plays a role. And I think we truly don't understand the power of that, but there's a $1 billion industry that does.
Hmm.
And that affects our pockets as well. So yeah, definitely who you partner with and who you lay down with every night will affect you some way, somehow financially. So definitely something to think about.
Tell Mike this exercise that you do with the kids. I remember when you first came up with this, I said, "Oh Lord, this is going to be something." But she actually does this, and it's absolutely necessary. Talk about that one. About going home and having
Um,
a.
Well, which one is the
Well,
wants
I'm thinking
versus
of
needs?
Probably.
no,
Why
no,
don't you
no.
tell them the first? Why
The
don't you
first
go in
one
order? The first assignment that you give them,
about going home and
Oh, the
having a
very first
conversation
assignment
with
tracking their
your
money, and then their
yeah,
research. Yeah.
yeah.
yes, yes, yes. Yes. So the very first assignment that we give them is called the tracking your spending. And so we meet every 2 weeks now. So over the course of 2 weeks, the students have to track their spending, and that means every dime. So if your mom or parent or somebody sends you to Safeway because they need a loaf of bread and they give you $20, you need to say, I just deposited $20, because more than likely you don't give your parents back your change, right? So every bit of money that you spend, that you receive, you are to track this money. And along that 2 week journey, I assigned them to write journal entries, 3 different journal entries, just about what they're feeling. What do you feel? Just some examples of just like, what do you feel when you have to spend money unexpectedly? Or like, what do you feel if you get a surprise deposit? Like, what does that feel like? What comes up for you? Why does this come up for you, you think, right? So they're getting in touch with just money on a day-to-day basis and what it feels like. And then one of the fourth journal entry is you sit down and talk to someone who has influence in your life. And we make sure that it's somebody that has influence in your life, because when someone has influence in your life, your eyes are on them in some way, you know? So just talk to somebody that you have that has influence in your life, and just talk to them about money. Just start a
Yeah.
conversation and see what comes up for you. And then I want you to journal about what you're feeling and what comes up for you, and your thoughts and any questions that you had for them. Just would love to hear about that. So that's what opens up the class. And that is always pretty powerful, because kids start to see, or students start to see, what, their relationship with money, and kind of where things stem from, and how they approach things, especially when I call it the parent guardian journal, especially when that one is, when we review that one and discuss it, they start to take on to like, oh, I see certain behaviors, So it's always pretty powerful opening up with that piece, because we introduce the germs of financially alive and free. And the germs is where it all starts. And we make sure that we don't, this person is not bad, take away bad and good. This is just where it started. This is just where it came from. This is just what it is, right? So that exercise helps us to start to identify the germs that we're dealing with and have to start to face, and hopefully rid ourselves of over a lifetime. You notice I said lifetime, because it is a lifetime journey.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Miss Demetra, one question I have is that in the Black community, a lot of times Black people are kind of like, they're finessers. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what I mean by that is, like, my mom didn't tell, like, she made it look good. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was struggling, but they made it look good. Should African Americans as a whole start just keeping it real and just showing the whole story of, the plight, instead of just trying to, like, you know, not share what they're going through? Because I feel like my mom, I didn't feel the stress that my mom was going through, because she made it look good. You get what I'm saying?
I totally get what you're saying. And I can say I definitely had similar experiences, and I don't think it's necessarily to, what do you call it? To bring all that out and like put it on the table, right? Because I do think as a child, there's so much that I feel that we should carry as children and so much that we shouldn't. And I think that's what our parents try to walk that line for us. But at
Definitely.
the same time, there's it goes back to kind of what we are what's passed on generation, right? Like there's if this is another part of the class too, because we get into historical context of our communities, right? Because I can't talk to you about money without talking to you about how historically laws have impacted us financially, right? And because of those laws, we have moved a certain way as Black people, as Black and brown folks, right? Like there's things and ways and behaviors and thoughts and all that we have had to take on to navigate all that. And I think that's part of like where that finessing comes from, where that I got to look good in the struggle type of, thing comes from, because of
Right,
these
right.
of laws and such that have been put in place for that. And
Wow.
so we definitely look at that and we tackle that, because even the system of credit, credit is it's a very American thing. As you learn more about different countries and all that great stuff, many countries don't do the credit thing. It's very American. But that whole system of credit is born out of slavery. It's born out of sharecropping, right? Like it's just become more developed. And so when we dig into the historical context of things and why, what I'm saying, we took on certain behaviors and why we have certain behaviors, things start to make more sense. And then you also then say, okay, now we know this is what it was, this is what it is, this is how we navigate it. Let's look how we can start to approach this differently, right? Because now there are things in place that we can use for our benefit, right? And even credit cards. And I'm not an advocate for credit cards, but I'm an advocate. I can say it's a tool that you can use once you are financially alive and free. You can use the tool to work for your benefit, right? But we're not taught that. We weren't given that. It was even once upon a time, it was illegal for us to even have wills and pass down our land, right? Like it was illegal, right? So as your mom, she had to navigate that. So
Yeah.
I got to learn how to finesse all this for my kids who were coming up, because we got to survive, right? So learning historically where we were as African Americans, as brown people in this country plays a lot of how we approach our money in this country, and fairly so,
Yeah, and what's powerful is you share your own story, and that's always the best. I'm living proof that this doesn't work, and I'm trying to make it better for me, and in turn make it for you. And I think that is just so. I just commend you for doing that, right? And saying, look, I fell into the trap too, just because I didn't know, right?
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
and I don't know if you want maybe talk a little bit about that. And I also want to add this: none of this can be done like until you can figure out your own relationship with money. With me, money was just something to spend and buy. That's it. I mean, it's just what it was. I mean, I didn't even think of savings. I just thought about buy, what I want. I was a consumer. I never even thought. So when I carried that into, obviously I got married, I got kids, so that mentality is still with me, and you heard the lady talk about, right, and so, she's on the same page as I am. So, you can't start a family with that mindset. You just can't
That's
do
crazy.
it. You can't do it. But I had no idea. So maybe you want to say a little bit about
how do you change habits from
That's-
like
that's what she
from
does.
no, I'm saying
Yeah.
change habits from your significant other. How do you help them, bring back if they're out of touch, if they're doing too much, how do you bring them back in? How you wheel them back in?
Demetra, I get that to you.
Well, at Omega, and
Lady Estelle
just
probably.
not at Omega. Yeah, just not even just at Omega, but just in my own life. I just believe change starts with the individual. And I think yes, it's going to be a process and it's going to be a struggle, but consistency is what has to happen here, and consistency in the change I even know for like myself, there were different, it was just a different thinking that I was coming into. And it was a different thinking of from my family. And I have a pretty strong minded family. And I had to remain consistent in my change, you know. And
Yeah.
so once folks start to recognize that, oh wait, she's not moving in this direction, or this is not what you know, then folks start to fall in line. I'm not saying that everyone not fall in line with their own lives, but just fall in line with what I'm doing in my life. And so I'm not saying that it was like peachy creamy and everybody kind of, oh, well, let's, you know, it wasn't that at all. It was even some folks that I just even parted ways, or the direction just looked different. Now, when it's your significant other, yes, it can be it could be a thin line to walk, but I would say, like, again, consistency matters. And when your significant other sees that what you are doing is benefiting the family, then the hope is that he or she will fall in line with that as well, right? And so that's my approach. And I mean, I even had to approach this with my own mother, and like she's a strong force in my life, and she set me up the best way she knew how financially as well. But I knew there were some things that I also wanted to do differently, and I had to have a pretty hard and sometimes scary conversation with my own mother, you know. But again, she saw the consistency and she saw the results. And so she allowed me to move in that way, you know. So it's an uphill battle, because you're breaking, well, someone says you're breaking thought patterns, you're breaking cycles, but someone's like, no, you're not breaking, you're starting new thought patterns and you're starting new cycles. And like that is that's hard for someone or for families that been in it for generations, right? It's hard. It's something new. They've never done it, or maybe they tried it before and the rug was pulled up under them for no reason besides just being Black in America, right? So it's a whole lot that comes into play with that. And so again, you just have to know my right is so much stronger than your wrong, and we're gonna be all right. Like this is what this is the direction that we have to move in, you know?
Some of the powerful classes, one of the most powerful classes, when she takes an example. And a lot of times, because it's public, we use Antoine Walker, the basketball player for the Celtics and a number of other teams, who made, how much money did he make in his lifetime, right? And
110 million.
And he lost it all, right? And she says, well, what would you do if? I mean, the way it's just how she does it. And they'd be like, what? Wait, how did you get it? And taking them through that exercise, they're just incredulous that this man had all of this money. And clear, he never had your class, right? You know, and this happens a lot to athletes, right? And I just love seeing them just wrestle with that, you know. And he said, well, if you had that much money, what would you do? And
but see, I think that's a problem. We talk about like money, like just so frivolously, like everybody's going to touch $1 million. You know what I mean? Like one thing about sports, it'd be like $100 million, and they just talk about, well, he gonna get the, you know what I'm saying? It's like, we don't know what $1 million is. Like one of the things that's a trip is like, count to 1 million, it takes you this many days. Count to 1 billion, it takes you this many
the rest of your life.
Yeah, it's crazy. So it's like, I think sometimes we kind of like, we don't put as much value on money because we just talk about it so loosely.
Yes.
In society.
Yes.
And
yes.
one thing I had about Miss Demetria that would tie to street soldiers is college. And how much does one say, okay, you know what, I'm not gonna go to Temple, let me go to Philadelphia City College, and then let me go to Temple, let me go to City College San Francisco or Contra Costa, and then get the USF or how do you factor that
So
in?
let me
in
just-
debt,
I'm
in
gonna tell you
debt
right now,
with
I'm gonna tell you right
student
now.
loans and stuff like that?
They would not have done what you just described had they not had this class. They would not, money was not in there. It was where I want to go to school. In the early days, everybody wanted to go to Atlanta, right? You know, the kids we sent to
Freak
got,
Nick.
and it
I'm joking.
and you know what major I wanted. The last thing they thought about was the cost. It just, you know, like, you know, they just didn't come into mind. I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna here. Like if I heard these words, I'm gonna figure it out. You don't figure money out. You got to figure it out.
You have to
before.
have it. Yeah.
Well, you got to figure it out. But that was the last thing on the list. After she entered the equation, we're gonna hear a little bit more. But so now they think completely different. They have turned down those schools strictly. They start with the money.
So they
now.
get accepted.
They start with the money.
Gotcha.
They don't even. But that's number one now. You know, then it's the school and the major. You know, but now they start with money. But what she has done for them, we get kids now graduate without debt. And that's because they think completely about money than they did before.
Wow.
She does this thing called wants versus needs. I don't know what's happening, but that's my other favorite one, wants versus needs. Is it a want or is it a need? Now you talk about a discussion. Lord, she just did. I hear you did this with the class last week, right? The wants versus needs. How you love doing that? I love sitting in on that class. Is it a want or is it a need?
Yeah. That one's always interesting because it's always interesting. And the idea behind it is to really get to the bottom of like what is actually a want and what is actually a need. And the discussion always becomes super vibrant because when I start to throw the hygiene products on there from to lotion to deodorant, you know, like, are these wants or are these needs? And when in this last class, I said, well, I actually know people that had no idea what deodorant is, but so explain to me how it's a need. We get into just a whole discussion behind wants versus needs, but the idea of the class is that how your when you are struggling, or maybe it's not the right word, starting to understand who you are, you and you alone, and how the lack of not understanding who you are and you alone impacts your pockets. And so when you struggle with understanding if this is a want or a need, as I mentioned before, there's $1 billion industry that's designed to tell you need everything they put in front of you, right?
Yes.
So if you
Perfect.
are struggling with understanding that concept, and when you are struggling with, or I don't want to use the word struggling because as young people, this is kind of just the process you go through. But when you are moving in the direction of learning more and more about who you are, there's going to be people that tell you who you think you are. And those people have make billions of dollars off of you and I. So
Wow.
starting to pull back those layers of who am I? Do I like purple or do I like red? Do I like tennis shoes that lace up or Velcro? Like you really truly starting to get to the depths of that, you can see that your pockets will look a whole lot different, right? And that's not to say that you don't enjoy things in life, absolutely not. But it's to say that you are making the decision, not this industry that's out there designed to make
Telling
it for
you
you,
what you
because
need,
that's
exactly.
when
Okay.
it really
I
affects
gotta
your
take a
pocket.
break. Gotta take a break. Pay some bills. Come on back. Don't go anywhere, everybody. And we're gonna continue this conversation about money.
Getting money.
Tell me what you see when you look at me. Do you see another brother lost in these streets looking for his soul? Trying to find my soul. Or do you see another brother searching for lost souls in these streets? A street soldier. Street soldier. Here to help you get that chip off your shoulder, warm your colder days and sober your drunken ways, and find a way to help you get over these hurdles placed in our path. And this is not meant to amuse you. This is for all those who have questions but are afraid to ask.
I won't be afraid. I won't be afraid. No. When times get hard, you lose your way. Open your mind and hear what I say.
This is a message for the hard and the soft. To those who tune in weekly and to those who keep an eye out for 8 p.m. on Sundays and turn their radios off. The truth hurts. The cloth has been pulled. We're walking around half dead. Use this show as your IV. Alive and Free is a new movement. We've achieved self-destruction. A street soldier promotes self-improvement.
Streets couldn't be no colder, so I gotta be a soldier. It shouldn't be this hard for me. Even when it seems so hopeless, I gotta keep my focus. I'm glad to be alive and free, yeah. Streets couldn't be no colder, so I gotta be a soldier. It shouldn't be this hard for me. Even when it seems so hopeless, I gotta keep my focus. I'm glad to be alive and free, yeah.
Our number 2, Alive and Free Street Soldiers Radio, and we're on Zoom, and no, we're on YouTube, and we're on Facebook, and we're on a whole bunch of places.
And free.
All right, YouTube at Stay Alive and Free. We're talking about money. In particular, we're talking about the Financially Alive and Free class that we hold with the young people at Alive and Free Omega Boys Club. We do it specifically, and as I said, the greatest gift we can give them after helping them to stay alive and out of jail is like, you gotta learn to take care of your money. Because Lord, if I had learned to take care of my money, it took me, Mike, you have to fight back from a low credit score to a decent credit score.
Mhm.
Have you ever had to do that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a real one. Like I've been through it all. So yeah, I done went up. I done been high, came back down, went to mid, went down, came up. So I didn't, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know nothing about credit scores until I went to try and buy something seriously like a house. And you know, I learned. I'm a quick learner, but I made some very bad financial. I didn't make a lot of life decisions, but I made a lot of bad financial decisions. And partially when you got a family, you know, you feel like you got to make those decisions. And I'll tell you one time that was like, Lord, I got this loan at some crazy interest rate.
Oh,
no.
no.
And I got it from one of them companies. I don't even remember the company, but I did it. This is why I did it. Malcolm knows. I did it because it was Christmas time and I couldn't buy no presents. So I went and got a loan to buy the present. And it cost me more than I borrowed eventually to pay it off. I mean, but those are the kind of things you feel like you definitely had I known, you know, and I'm like, what am I doing? You know, so, you know, but yes. I don't want anybody to have to do that. There are other ways to do it, but that's because I never had a class like the one Mr. Meacher does at Alive and Free Omega Boys Club. So, Mr. Meacher, you see some people who are former pupils of yours?
I do.
You do. And we have, there's one other supposed to join us, and one is down in the middle of nowhere. Why are you down there? I can't see your face. Vanessa.
Oh, sorry. Hi. No.
Yeah, come up high, girl. All right.
Hi.
You got a hairstyle on.
No, because you know what? I was
on.
not gonna get on, but on my face, but I was like, you know what?
We ain't tripping on that hair scarf, girl. Get on this thing.
Hey, you know what? I'm giving Alive and Free tonight. So
all right. So we're joined by Vanessa Robinson.
Hi, yes.
alumni. We
Hey,
are
Miss
joined by
Vanessa.
Austin Jones,
Yes.
alumni. Say hello, Austin.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, wait, can that stop? And we are joined by Jaira Martin, a current college student, getting ready to go into her senior year.
She in Chicago?
Yeah, she is in Chicago. She's been on before. And your teacher is here, y'all. And, you know, we wanted to know, she's going to ask you what you learned, what you didn't learn, but you have all had Mr. Meach's class. You are alive and free, and we hope that you are financially alive and free. The whole thing is to take the good advice, good information, good instruction, good example that we give you in both areas, and then your life, then you'll be living like Mr. Meacher. You'll be living large. You'll be living
So y'all
good.
think-
That's what we talking about. That's what we talking about tonight.
OJ's for the love of. All right. First of all, you got each of you say hello to Mr. Meacher and Mrs. Stell, because they didn't know you were coming on. Only I knew you were coming on. So who wants to start? Austin, you say hello first.
Hi, Mrs. Stell, Ms. Demetra. How you guys doing? It's good to see you.
It's good to see you.
Hello.
And Jaira, say hello.
Yeah, hi, Mr. Demetra.
Hello. Hello.
And lastly, Canessa, who popped up in my office, just walked in.
I'm
showed up.
sorry.
Say hello to both of them.
Hello, how are you guys?
How are you?
Hi, Miss
I'm
Vanessa.
doing well.
Let's start with what you remember about her class. So, Austin, you start. What do you remember about the Financially Alive and Free class? Let's just start there.
I remember we started with algebra. We started with very basic algebra 1 before we actually got to the financial part. You know, of course, we went through all our math, made sure we could calculate, you know, that we could and could not take on these loans. You know, we had to do all that. And then as I just remember, like at the end, we had to have like this whole plan, you know, like what was your plan for college? You know, and I think that was really like the big takeaway was when it comes to these finances, it's always best to like have a plan. You know what I mean? Like we could just go into college and just, you know, start taking out loans or whatever the case may be. But I think for sure the biggest thing that I remember was planning. You know, planning is so important.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Jaira, what do you remember?
For me,
You're the freshest one because go right ahead.
for me, the assignment that I remember the most is when we had to talk about our parents' relation to money and how that affected our relation to money. And just like how we've always seen our people from like where we come from, how they interact with money and how that's affected like how we do that. I also think another big thing was the need versus wants conversations that we had. Like, what do you need versus what do you want, right? And learning to distinguish that was the two big takeaways for me.
Okay. And Canessa, you go back the furthest. I hope you remember.
I know. No, you know, man, I know that was so long ago when I graduated, but I will say when I did going into the program, I looked at it like, oh, okay, I have a scholarship and life is great. But then when I got into the program, I remember it being more so of a reality check and me really thinking, oh man, I'm about to go off and I'm really on my own down there. So I really have to budget correctly. I'd never been budget conscious until I took the financial literacy course. And I was actually glad and I was actually very proud of myself. I did well financially, not like bragging, but I think, you know, from what I took from it, I budget my bills very well. I budgeted my lifestyle very well. I was able to kind of do everything I want to do. And I graduated with no debt, obviously, with much help to the program. But just having like my personal credit score was a 760. And so I felt good graduating college with somewhat of a job that I thought was promising, but it didn't work out. That's how that happens. But I knew finances were big on my radar even after college. So, you know, just budgeting and getting used to budgeting and being on my own and credit score and the importance of that. I remember that being what I got from the financial literacy class. So
Talk a
how's
little
that?
bit. Wonderful. Talk a little about Miss Demetra's teaching style. What? Just I get to hear it. What's it like, Jair? Just being in there with Miss Demetra.
She don't take nothing. She don't. Hey, you better participate. You better participate, or it's gonna be a problem. We all in this together, and we trying to solve this mystery together. So definitely you got to participate, and you got to be focused and aware and paying attention and on cue all the time.
Austin, talk about Miss Demetra's
Like, I
teaching.
remember the same thing. Miss Demetra did not play. She was no mess, Now, yeah, I remember that for sure. She would definitely call on you, definitely was calling on you. And you could not miss your turn for real.
Vanessa, what do you remember about Miss Demetra's teaching style?
What I could take from Miss Demetra's teaching style was the seriousness of it all. Like, you can really get out here and find yourself in a whole lot of debt and can't pay your taxes, and just the seriousness of financing. So aside from it being her having like a what may be perceived as a hard teaching style, it was the seriousness. That's why I felt like it was more of a reality check, and I took my finances seriously. So I was very appreciative, and to even just find out what she does in her career, I still follow the market and just what you do. So I never forgot the tour that you took us on where you work. So that actually is what stuck to me, because I never forgot currency exchange and the market. So I still look into it to this day. So that's more so what I took from you.
Yeah, she definitely practices what she preaches. I mean, and I think it's wonderful that she didn't put this out, and wasn't something she wasn't doing herself, still isn't doing, and that you don't, basically we have what's the saying we say with violence, you don't have to learn the hard way. I've been through that. You don't have to do that. And telling her personal story to me is always remarkable to me, and I'm glad the three of you listen, and I love the way folks want to say we have this whole free prescription model, right? And so one of the, and then we have the coaches, and one of them is how well you listen to how long you live, right? So basically, how well you listen financially is how your finances is gonna be, how you gonna live with your finances. Mr. Demetra, what do you remember about each of these three?
What I remember, Miss Jaira, her final project was, yeah, because you had so much money coming in. It was like, do you want to share this? But yeah, her final project was so on point, and she ate it up. Like, she was not playing, and I still use hers as an example to this day. Austin, I remember his curiosity, like everything from the places that I worked, and do you do this randomly? And like, I remember it was a text or two. I didn't get back to you, Austin. I think I don't know, traveling somewhere. I was like, I gotta get back to him. I forgot. So sorry. But yeah, that's what I remember about Austin. Just very curious, and just wanting to know, because he was just moving in that direction. How do you say, like, how do you describe someone who's on their journey and just hungry and curious? And that's where he was. And he was eating up everything that not only the Financially Alive and Free class had to offer, but also Miss Estelle and just Alive and Omega Boys Club in general. So like, that is what I remember about Austin as a student. Just very curious, very hungry, and just, when I say hungry for knowledge, totally remember that. And with Miss Canessa, she was the sweetie pie of the class. She'd walk over to the desk, me and Stella look at each other like, here we go. But she was the sweetie pie of the class. And again, she came in. Canessa, didn't you come in with somebody? Who did you come in with?
If it was a him, I'm not saying his name.
Oh my God.
No, it wasn't a gentleman. It was, I
Okay,
thought it was
okay, okay.
Canessa and one other young lady. I don't
No,
remember.
you're talking about
But Miss
Kanisha.
Canessa.
You're talking about Kanisha Burdine and
Oh,
That's
and
another
yeah,
person.
that's a group. No, she wasn't in that group. I know which one you're talking about, but no.
okay. So Canessa, okay, okay,
I can't.
okay. I
So,
got you. I got it.
Vanessa
oh,
had
I came with Corey Monroe, but
before I say, yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay.
no.
Yes, so Miss Canessa, she was the sweetie pie of the group, and she was she was the baby doll, but she came in kind of timid, and when she left out, she knew this is what I'm doing. This is how it's going.
I know, Mrs.
This
Took
is
me
what
to
it
the
was.
front. No,
So
you gonna talk, and then no ums. Oh my gosh, she took all my ums.
yes. Yeah, very timid, but walked away very, very much like driven and knew what she wanted to do, knew the direction she wanted to go in. She asked the questions, and not only did she ask, she demanded the answers. Yeah, I definitely remember Miss Prissy, Miss Baby Doll walking in, and by the time she's walking out, I was like, "Look, this is what I'm doing, and this is what it is," and da, 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 da. So it was great. I love it.
Don't worry, she's still
Yes.
talking. Okay. One of the hard conversations we have with them is about credit cards, and it's to some people it's I mean I don't consider it to be controversial, especially after the way you lay it out. But one of the traps for young people very quickly is credit cards, right? They'll send you a credit card. You walk as soon as they get your college application, the next thing they do is send you a credit card, right? And you have a real conversation with them about, so what's your philosophy? And there are a lot of people watching. What's your philosophy, Mr. Demetri, about credit cards? And then let's have each of them talk about how they've been able to how do they handle the credit cards? So go right ahead.
Yeah, so my credit card, I believe that credit cards they're a tool, and they are a tool that you want to use to your advantage. And once you start to learn more about the credit card industry and what they are all about and who they target and why they target, and how it started and all that good stuff, you will really start to understand my philosophy of why I say they are a tool and you want to use it to your advantage. One of the biggest arguments we get is like, well, I need to build my credit. I need to build my credit. And so over time, there's been different approaches to that question. And the way I landed on that question is, if you are not financially alive and free, you will never build your credit. And so putting a credit card in someone's hand who struggles financially is one of the worst decisions that you can possibly make. And you put a credit card in your hand, one, when you're financially alive and free. And what does that mean? When your thinking is in line, it's not irresponsible, it doesn't lack accountability. You get bills and you pay those bills. You know what you're doing with your money. You're not spending your money frivolously. Like you are accountable when it comes to the money and the finances that you have. And then another piece of that is also you have a career, right? Not just a job where you're jumping around and let me get a job here, let me get a job there, but you have a career, right? And so in those two cases, when your thinking is in line and when you're constantly putting yourself with Omega, like when you're constantly putting yourself through this whole model and you have a career, then you can start to think about credit cards, because a person is responsible and in a place to deal with credit cards when they are researching what card works best for them. If you just signing up for a credit card because they come along and you get a free t-shirt and all that type of stuff, you're not in a place to do it. So just because you have no credit, getting a credit card and having bad credit is 10 times as bad than having no credit, because you have to repair your credit, and that is a beast. When you have no credit and you are financially alive and free, there's a process that you can take where you would have credit within 6 months, right? And so that whole concept of, well, I got to build credit. If you are not financially alive and free, you will never build your credit. Never. thinking is not in line to manage a credit card. And you have to know how to manage those. And once you do, they can be a great tool for you. One of the perks I get with my cards, I get travel points. I get free flights and all that, right? Another point, like you can get free hotel stays, but you have to know how to manage your money, your thinking, and have a career to do so. And if you don't, credit cards can be your worst nightmare.
I hope everybody out there watching is listening, because this is good advice.
And just to throw this in, Dr. Marshall, that is what the industry is designed to do.
Yeah.
The industry stays alive off the interest of credit cards. So if you are in credit card debt and you're paying interest, that is where they want you. That is how the money is made. And if you are familiar with sharecropping, that is where the whole industry, that's where it all stems from, the whole credit industry. So when you think of sharecropping, who comes to mind? These are people that look like you and I. And so the target audience for these credit cards are not people who are wealthy, who can afford to have stuff, are people who their target is the people who cannot, because that is the ones who will stay in debt and continuing to pay them. And debt is just like a jail. It's just like a prison, right? And so, and if you think of what is sharecropping, it's the same concept, right? It's just an evolved form of sharecropping. So again, if you are not in a space mentally and your thinking is not in line, and if you're thinking like we have the financial commandments, if that is your thinking, do not touch credit cards yet. Rid your thinking, rid those risk factors, you're thinking in line, and have a career, and you use those credit cards for your benefit.
You do something that's amazing, and I want to say this because you were the first person I heard really just come out and say, because I did it. I'm telling you, I did this. Do not pay the minimum on a credit card, right? Do not pay the minimum.
No.
Don't pay the minimum. Don't pay the minimum. And so, I would get bills, because I ain't got a lot of money. I don't want the phone call from the bill collector. That's the last thing I need to hear, right? So let me just pay something, just to stay in good standing. Well, Lord,
right.
Some bills I had for 400 years. I ain't 400 years old, right? Because I hooked on that.
Yeah. And so the idea too, and again, that's not to be confused with someone who is working their way out of it. There's not to be confused with someone who's being accountable, right? Because like I teach the students, there's times in life when all you can do is pay your minimums, right? You will have those moments in life, and you better pay those minimums. But the piece that we speak about is that if you are paying the minimum simply because that is where your thinking has you, that is the problem, right? So if you know that you went out and charged the latest concert tickets, the latest outfit, or what do they wear, the dunks and all that, right? And you charged it, and you knew that it was time to pay this bill, but you choosing not to do that, that is the problem. You will never, ever benefit from a great credit score. But if you are in a place in life and it has you at a place where if I just pay these minimums for now, I'm tackling this debt, I'm getting out of this debt, and these minimums are helping me to do that right now, then that is what you do. You are being accountable for your spending. But if you're not doing that and you're in a completely different place and I'm paying the minimum because that's all I gotta pay these people and I ain't worried about these people, they get their $20 and I'm moving on, completely different concept.
And I'm doing this because we got, aside from the 3 here watching, we got a lot of folks listening. And I want them to hear exactly what you tell the young people at the club about this. Because, like when I heard it, I did it for years until I was like, man, I ain't never getting out of this. I'm not getting out of this. And I'm not a bad person, obviously, right? I think I'm helping. I think I just never, my mind never went there. My mind never went there. Now it is beyond there, girl. I buy something, it's paid off right away. Jared, how you doing with the credit cards? Cause you that college student they're looking for. They're looking for you, girl. You can have this, you can have this. All you gotta do is buy this and pay it back. Whatever. How you doing with the credit card thing? I'm just curious.
I don't have a credit card.
Well, okay, that's how you doing. I don't have a credit card. Oh Lord, you
Dance
like
real
me?
life.
You like me talking about Facebook? I ain't got Facebook. I might be everybody, but you ain't got a credit. You ain't got Facebook. I'm the only one that ain't got it. All right, how you doing with it, Austin? How you doing with the credit cards?
I'm doing actually really good. So I just turned 30 on April 15th, and I just applied for my first credit card last year. So I just
Oh,
I didn't do credit cards at all. You know, they actually kind of terrified me. I feel like I was maybe I wasn't traumatized, but growing up, my mom had like this very fearful thing with credit cards, which is not a good thing either. Because like you were saying, Mr. Demetri, it's a tool that you use, you know what I mean? So, but with her, she was just terrified of them. So it kind of just, I guess maybe instilled that into me because I was just like, I'm not doing credit cards. If I ain't got it, I ain't paying it. You know, it was just, if I do have it, I can spend it, you know, but I just didn't want to be in debt to someone, you know, having to like keep on paying, and then you got interest rates. I mean, interest rates is crazy, you know?
now, oh heck yeah.
Yeah, so I would, yeah, it's real bad right now, real bad. But overall, right now, I would say I'm really good with credit. I keep my limit, you know, my payments up. I pay way over what I'm supposed to, and my what I have on them is very, very low. You know, so but yeah, I just got my first credit card. Like it was at the end of last year, in December. So I just got my first credit card.
Wow.
And Austin, you have a career now, am I correct?
I have a career, yes. I have a full career, so that's the only reason why I got it.
Yeah.
Vanessa, how you doing with credit cards?
Oh man. I did well with them up until I did the master's program at UCLA. I said, you know, I'm gonna take out my first loan, and then COVID happened, and then I default the loan. And so lucky me, I'm on a perfect credit line with my parents. So that was the only thing that saved me. But I definitely did what most people do. They get zealous and want to, I don't know, open the next Disney. So that's what I thought. So I probably did the worst of it with credit after I knew better. And then not only that, the Wells Fargo card that I did have in college defaulted that too. So I know the worst of what you could do with credit. And I have to, like Ms. Demetri said, clean that up. So now I had to do the credit repair and all the crazy stuff. So I do not have a credit card because now I'm doing what Ms. Demetri said I should have done, which was made sure that the credit card was best for me. It works out. But I definitely went through the worst of it. Now I'm getting better with it. So I went through that roller coaster with my credit, to be honest.
Yeah, it happens.
Thank you.
It happens. It happens. And there's nothing you can do. No one saw COVID. And it's like, you want me to pay still? But it's just, yeah. Yeah, they did. So
Well,
It was like, you want me to pay still? Yeah, they did.
that's the worst of a credit score story you can get. It's like there it is. So,
Yeah.
you can
But
always-
with the industry that follows, you know, a sharecropping mentality. It's what
I
it
won't
is.
drop no names, but not all credit cards, not all credit industries are willing to work with you, no matter if the whole world shut down.
Yep.
Good thing.
There's
So,
And always apply what you learned, as long as
Yeah.
you are free and want to be
Right.
alive and financially free. The lessons
Right.
don't change just when you want to apply it. That's all.
Right.
Good. Because I know you told me in the office you got some big plans, girl, and them plans you
Ah,
talking about. You really
Hey, well,
Yeah.
yeah.
you consult with Mr. Mitchell before you do this, because this is
Oh, well,
I love your plan. I love your plan. I love the idea. I love the thought in your head. But you know what?
now I'm all shy. Okay, well, since you put the plan out there and everybody's like, well, what's the plan?
I didn't tell them plan.
Yeah, you
Everybody's like, well, what's the plan? No, you know, I developed a passion for working with kids because I felt like this program saved my life. So when I went to LA, I started partnering with a program called Higher Learning, who actually works with USC, even though I did the UCLA program. And they kind of do the same thing. They help with kids getting into, good colleges and what are you going to do after? Because it's really, the question is what happens after college? A lot of times you go after a career 1 year, and then by the time you graduate, the criteria is different. No one even talks about that anymore. By the time you graduate, it's a whole different requirement that they may even need that you haven't even taken care of, with a lot of careers. So that program kind of works on that. And then there's another situation with the partnership with Sarazone and child safety and getting clean air into the school. So that's sort of what he was talking about with the other ventures that I will further discuss once things are more developed. But just trying to keep myself
Real
above.
quick.
Uh-huh.
My name is Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Miss Martin, because you guys are still in school?
No,
Or no?
Diara's still in college.
Got you.
Yeah, she's at University of Chicago. Vanessa graduated from Cal State, LA. How long ago did you graduate? You've been out for a minute now, right?
Oh, very long time. Yes, I graduated Cal State LA 2015 and then UCLA's program at 2017.
My question is more so for Miss Martin. How is AI changing how you guys?
Yeah, we talking about financial literacy.
That's financial.
Is it?
That's very financial.
I don't know. Well, then tell
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Demetria,
People got
in the
AI people doing things for them, and they not even there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Then tell me.
There's a whole restaurant in LA.
See?
An AI restaurant?
Yeah, it's not Allen Iverson either.
I know that.
It's
not Allen Iverson memorabilia restaurant, right?
Nah.
Okay. Get me to this. What's going on with the AI thing, Mr. Mitchell? You, Diara, what's up with that?
Yeah, it's coming.
It's coming.
It or not.
It's here. What do you
And
think?
the part that I think he's referencing far as like the financial piece is that jobs are going to be lost. And then it's possible that jobs will also be gained from this industry as well, right? It happens, right?
Right.
And from just AI, it's a human. Yeah. And it's taking on a lot of what humans can do. And that is that's the part where, jobs can start to seem and I call it and I don't know, Austin, this is your area too, right? A little bit, right? It's like I call it like a souped up Google for sure, because it has the power to, I mean, you ask it anything and it can literally do anything. So that is the piece where financially, how do you start to prepare, or how do you start to navigate such an industry? Yes, it'll bring jobs, but I'm imagining that it can take away jobs as well.
We'll have to do a show just on that.
Yeah.
And that's the financial piece. I got to deal with the human piece first, then we'll move on to the finances. Let me back up because correct me if I'm wrong. You were talking about like wanting to buy some property, that kind of thing. Or did I get that wrong? You were looking at being a property owner, and that's I thought. So you're gonna have a conversation with Mr. Mitchell about that, or did I just imagine that you said that in my office? Because I thought that was a wonderful thing to become,
Well, yes. I mean, again, with just
that's in your head, right? That's right now.
Well, of course. Well, when COVID happened, right, I think everybody's finances, I mean, I can't speak for everyone, but mine did, where my finances went into a complete frenzy. And I started more so, instead of following my passion, which was writing and arts and theater, I started following the money. And so that's when I started looking to investments and looking into, what is recession proof more than anything. financially. So, I was lucky enough that I have a family of real estate. Please excuse me, someone called. So I've definitely been aware of real estate being one of the main avenues of finances, but just getting to it for myself and finding programs that help first-time home buyers and looking to acquire multiple doors instead of just one door, and just being finding the proper places to do it, and probates and things like that, and just following where finances are going and investments, and like I was saying, looking into the market and stocks and things like that. So that's kind of where financial literacy went for me, especially after COVID. I started kind of following where money was, and then my passion can kind of come along. So that's just what I was kind of explaining when I was thinking about real estate. Real estate is like the overall, umbrella, I feel like, for everyone. But what type of real estate? Commercial real estate, what areas, what type of real estate. So I've been just definitely looking into that and looking to pull the trigger on it soon, now that I've started cleaning up my credit. So
And that can all be done the right
Mhm.
way, and that's where Mr.
Right.
Miller be a coach for life, the whole bit.
Oh
You wanna say
yeah.
something,
I want to share my Miss Demetra story. You inspired me so much. One, I love because that you talk about money. I think talking about money is really important.
Mhm.
Knowing the good and the bad and the whatever, just being honest about it. Because if you don't know, then you don't know, you
You
know,
don't know what you don't
right?
know, right?
And that you can get through it, right? But for me, make sure you get a used car. You don't buy brand new. Doesn't have to be fancy, but you do want to make sure that it can get you from A to B. And she told me how to get to a credit union, and I had my score up, and I knew my number that I could like buy the car with. And I went with because first I had the Mustang. Loved the Mustang, and it was drop top, but it was very expensive to fix that all the time. Rebuilt the transmission, went into debt. It was ugh. So I'll just look at them now. But then I went and I got my Toyota. And I'm just saying, low mileage, good price. Went with the baby when I went to buy it, so the guy didn't haggle me too much. But as of like 2 weeks ago, tax return came in, and I was able to go ahead and check that off
Oh
and
wow,
pay it off
that's great.
in its entirety. And that's because
Yeah.
of you, Miss Demetra. Yes.
See, you think it's only the students that listen. Everybody listening.
Always.
We're all
Yes.
listening. We
Yes.
all can use good, we all want to be
Financial
financially
advice,
alive
yeah.
and free.
Yes.
Absolutely. And that brings up another point. People always buying what they can't afford, man. I mean,
Yeah.
people that you can't afford that, and then they get into this. But you help with all of that.
Yeah.
I mean, you demystify all of this. That's what I love that you're doing for the young people. Money is not a mystical thing, right? You demystify. You take
Yeah.
the out of it. You take all out of it by having these conversations about something that it's like it's almost like it's off limits. You just out there just figuring it out. No, you ain't got to figure it out. And that's what's so wonderful to hear. I remember Austin coming in, and Mike is gone because I want to tell him something. But I remember Austin, you were the first one in all the years. Austin wanted to go to Morehouse. Austin got this. We went on a tour. He got a Morehouse sweatshirt. He came back. I'm going to Morehouse. Austin got his financial aid offer letter from Morehouse. He walked in. He said, "Doc, they only giving me loans." Like he might as well just took the sweatshirt out. I ain't going to Morehouse. I don't care what the tradition is. I don't care if they make Morehouse men. I ain't gonna let nobody talk about, well, it's really good. I ain't going. Because he said, I don't want no loans. That's exactly what he said. I don't want no loans. And he did. Well, a lot of people would be the less glamorous route. He said, well, I'm going down to Long Beach City College. I'm gonna get my AA. And he did. He went down there, in Atlanta. He's down there with Snoop Doggy Dogg, but anyway, he down there, he down in Long Beach, and he took his time, and we got together. We did the housing thing and book thing, and then he got into UC Davis, and he had to borrow hardly nothing, But you were my perfect example. Walked in there and now it wasn't the school, it wasn't the city, it wasn't the major. It was like, I don't want no loan. And so that is like, but that wouldn't have happened. He can only say that after your class. Because you know why? You put it on paper. You made the look, 2 and 2 is 4. You made 2 and 4 look like I gotta borrow 25,000. No, hell no, I ain't going to Morehouse. You know, so yeah, man, I just can't say enough about you and the work you do for the young people. Jair, where you get and aren't you getting ready to go somewhere this semester after this semester?
Oh,
Tell me where you're going.
I'm studying abroad in Paris next winter.
Yes. You got to tell me all things about Black Paris.
Yes, I
Oh,
will.
So it's gonna be. No, I'm not even gonna go there.
He going to
Shout out to Jay-Z and Kanye West.
I know that. Forget that. Jair Martin. I don't care about Jay-Z and Kanye. He going to Paris. I mean, look, but
we.
If we.
Now I think Jaira, looking and if I know you well enough, I know you already figured out the money part of it. But
it's done.
And I know our dollar is not as strong there, right? Our dollar's a little weaker.
I don't.
Their dollar makes our dollar less. Like it's not equal. I don't know. Look that up if I'm not correct. Look it up. I think our dollar is a little less than theirs. So that means it'll take more of our money to equal their money. Not much more, but a little more of our money to equal their money. So just look into that prior to you departing and see what you have to do about that.
Definitely. I have a friend in Paris right now. She graduates in June. And then I have a friend that went to Paris her second year of college. So
yes, so sit down and definitely have that conversation with just our dollar and like what that looks like. Because I want to say it's like one of theirs is 82 cents of ours, right? So something like that.
You got a friend in Paris. I got a friend in East Oakland. She got a Paris.
Yes.
All right, Jair. Just a couple friends in Gay Petty. All right. I love that.
Miss Martin, when you go, you gotta go to McDonald's and get a Royale.
That's what everybody says.
Royale with cheese.
Oh, Royale.
Yeah. Malcolm know what's up.
Yeah. Do you know
Miss Ann know what's up too.
What?
Pulp Fiction, the movie, Dr. Marshall. Come on, man. A Royale with cheese.
Yeah, never saw it.
Oh man, you got to see Pulp Fiction.
I know.
Great movie.
I know it's a great movie.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I always getting all y'all off subject.
Miss B, just talk about one more thing before you go. You got to talk about saving, because I never really thought about savings either. I mean, I thought about you have a rule about saving that goes along with this, being financially alive and free, and you do not negotiate on the rule. So just talk about the whole thing about saving.
Yeah, I talk about how saving is a habit. You don't come into the $1 million and decide to start saving. Or make the choice to save, because saving is a habit. And if it's not a habit you've developed when you were earning $1 a day, it's definitely not going to be the habit when the $1 million comes in. Hence, I think of Antoine Walker, right? I don't know his story personally, but just what we review in class, So saving is something, and my mom, she was a huge example of this for me. If it was $50 a week that I earned, you put $5 away. You save. And even the caller, was it Adrian? When she mentioned like my father saved, right? So it's something that you just want to get in the habit of, and you can never you will always hear someone, well, I don't have enough money to save anything. It's a habit. So even at the moment, all you got is 10 cents to put to the side. It's the habit. Because if you start putting 10 cents to the side, that 10 cents is going to turn into $10. That $10 will turn into $50. That $50 will turn into $100, right? So it's the habit of you just putting it away. And it's many times that you hear, oh, I didn't know anything about saving and this and that, and you hear all the other things, you gotta take it with you, da, da, da. But I know like there's, and Canessa talks about COVID, like there was an event that happened in my life prior to COVID where it literally snatched everything I had. Like literally had to go to Walmart and buy underwear and a toothbrush, but my savings got me through it, so you definitely want to just be in the habit of just saving, of just saving, of just saving, of just saving. And then as you are, moving through this process of understanding your relationship with money and starting new cycles in your life, and you're building up a savings account, and then it's all these resources that you can now start to look into, if it's real estate, you want to go purchase something, or if it's, I want to put this in the market, and buy different stocks, or there's a CD that I'm interested in, or heck, I'm starting my 401k and can max it out each year with $10,000. Like whatever it is that you want to start to do, you have the funds there and your thinking is starting to be more in line. The options are limitless, and it's exciting to see. And then it's just not even what I can do here in America. It's like you can then start to look at how far your money can go outside of America and the things that you can start to do. But like you want to get yourself in that place of where your finances become less of a burden, and they become more of they become the asset that they can be. And it all starts with our thinking. It starts with our thinking. It starts with our thinking. And once that starts to fall in play and you just start to see things pan out a little different, never you gonna hear me say it's easy. I will never use those words, never, ever, ever. But I will always say it's worth it. It's worth it. And a savings account will literally save your life. It will literally save your life. And that's one of the rules for living.
Yeah, I love your approach to saving. No matter how much, just put it away. Whatever. In fact, not with me. I save before I spend. That's like I'm gonna save before I spend. You think I'm sitting in on that class too and say, I clean my stuff up, because I'm getting old, so I got to do this right. So I look, save before you spend, and if you got 10 cents, put a nickel away. You know what I'm saying? But all of that comes to, and you do something that. Let's put it like this. I know you well enough, and I'm not going to put all your business out there, but you are a woman of the world. I will say this. She's bi-continental. She lives half her year in America, and she is other half of the year in Africa. Oh, yeah. So, like, she just,
cool?
She like, yeah, it's cool. And I mean, Mr. Mitchell's a global,
She's global.
Oh, yeah. She and look.
Been around the world and yeah.
And she ain't gotta worry. See, you ain't gotta worry. Like I'm not worried at this point because of this whole alive and free thing. I'm not worried about staying alive and free. I ain't worried about being alive. I ain't worried about money. I'm not. I ain't gonna tell you what but that not to have to worry.
Yeah.
Look, that's cool. That is cool not to have to worry. And it's because of these simple things, but not so simple things because of these conversations. And you got to understand, all the young people come to Live and Free, we have to use this on ourselves first before we can apply it to you. So if I'm not living alive and free and you catch me doing something that ain't right, then I'm a hypocrite. That's the way I feel, right? And if we put this financial thing out there, like Ann, she applied to herself. So yeah. Dr. Marsh, you always so happy. Yeah, because I'm alive and free. And I'm alive and financially free. I ain't gonna tell y'all nothing. But that is so cool. It is so cool to be this way, right? And all you gotta do is what she told you. So it's just we appreciate you so much. What you've given.
Absolutely. And it's a life journey. You can ask all three of them on there. And I mean, I'll speak for myself. It's for sure a life journey. And Miss Mitchell, you don't have any bills? No, I got bills. And these but it's not how do you say what's one of the rules for living, like paying my bills in full, like that is what I live by, and so I definitely have them, and this is definitely, I'm constantly checking for the symptoms that affect me. I'm constantly, working through the commandments that affect me. Like it's a lifelong journey, but I can definitely say, each stage of my life that I've been moving through this with, it's just been gradually going up, up, and now, you know, I am, like you mentioned, I am bicontinental, and that takes finances to do that. And when I was able to make the shift, the savings was wonderful, right? So, but your savings starts to dwindle when the money is not coming in consistently. So being thinking of of my finances and thinking of this whole model is just like, okay, I gotta do some shifting in my lifestyle as well, so that my finances can be what I know they're supposed to be. So I'm making shifts there. And like I told Mrs. Still, I'm about to pay these bills off. Don't laugh, Dr. Marshall. I'm about to pay these bills off like they strippers. Y'all ain't gonna know it. Like, what's going on. But that's the catch. That's where my mind is. Like I'm make money and it's great, but before I can start to move the way I know how to move, I gotta pay these bills back, pay these bills off so I can do what
You
I
in
know I'm supposed
control.
to do.
See, the thing is that you're in
Yeah,
control. When you learn this, you in
And not
control.
only the way you know how to move, but the
Yeah.
way you want to move. You see, and that's the
absolutely.
thing. There are things that we definitely know how to do, know that we need to, but then there are things that we want to do that we can't because we are not in a position to do that. And so, yes, you've created things so that you can move the way you want to.
Yeah,
Thank you. This
absolutely.
wonderful work you do. It's just all. I mean, we're so glad, and we're gonna go through the whole day. Mr. Mutual walked in, but I always salute you what you've become. The Emmy Award, all of that stuff that people out there don't know. But Demetria, and the more you know, the more you owe. You giving our young people this financial advice. The not because I mean, look, being alive and free is great. Being alive and free and worried about money mitigates the goodness of being alive and free. Okay, and you want the best life you can possibly have, and money's always going to be an issue. So if you can master that, get a hold of that, and it is wonderful. So thank
Yeah.
you
And
again.
I think Austin's example of his, because Austin, that was another thing about you. Austin, you could not tell him he wasn't going to Morehouse. He was set. And I think that is like a huge example of why we do that wants versus needs class. And and how he moved through that, whether he took that class into consideration or not, like that is the example. Like, let's dig deep into your wants versus needs, because if you don't start to understand them, someone is going to understand them for you and and give you what they feel how you should define your want versus needs. But he knew, no, absolutely not. Morehouse, I love the men you have created. Thank you, Dr. King, but I'm gonna be free the other way. Like, this is not it.
Not an
So just that's
$80,000 in debt love.
right. That's a great example of how that class works. So thank you for
And
that,
you had a
Austin.
couple of others do it. The twins, Kelsey and Chelsea, turned down I think Spellman and
Howard.
Howard, and ended up at UC Davis and UC Santa Cruz on a money thing, just for the money. And to the point that they didn't want their parents also to take out a plus loan. So it wasn't just them taking out money. It was their parents taking about money. And yeah, those are very attractive schools, but I don't want no debt. And starting off life debt free is a whole lot different than waiting on Biden to forgive them. So just thank you so much for everything you do. This new group of young people, I hope they're paying attention, because they got a chance to be alive and free, educated and financially free. Lady E, you've been listening, and
Lady E's got nothing, because what is important for me is that Mr. Mitra wraps up with some final words of wisdom.
Yeah.
For things that you want the listeners to always remember and know when it comes to money.
Wow, you really just put me on the spot. What I want the listeners to know when it comes to money, that it is possible. And it starts with your thinking. It starts with your thinking. It starts with your thinking. If you, I say it all the time, what you think is what you do. And my story, if you know, my story, I'm born and raised in East Palo Alto, California. I was born and raised in East Palo Alto, California in the 80s and 90s. So that should tell you a whole lot.
Yep.
And a lot of the family, we saw money come and go. And I saw that with my own eyes, and I saw how my family view money. So I think those little details about my life can tell you a lot of how I thought about money and what it and how I used to view it. But again, making the decision that I want something better. I want something better financially. I want to see what my money can do for me. And Mrs. Stell reminded me of it was a conversation, I think was Don going somewhere, and I said, I want to be able to do that too.
You said,
and
looked at that life and said, I want that. I want that. I should be able to do that. This is what I want. And I've watched you work. I've watched the discipline, and I watched you get there.
Yes. So
Yeah,
I say
yeah.
it. I say it, and I will say it over and over again. It is possible. It is possible. And Mrs. Stell reminded me that I got there, Miss Dr. Marshall, because I was in the middle of the Serengeti, and I was on the phone with her. And I said, Mrs. Stell, I am sitting here in the middle of the Serengeti. She said, I remember when you said, I want that life. And so just know it's all mental. It's all mental. And change begins with you. Change begins with you. Change begins with you.
That's it. That's it.
And
That's
credit
it.
cards are
That's
not
it.
your friend.
That's it.
Credit cards are not your friend.
Y'all keep on this journey. Keep on this journey, Jair. And Paris, okay, girl, just send me some pictures, okay? You can't send me no food. Austin, man, y'all
Save your money.
Oh, y'all just doing it. Girl, Miss Canessa, get back on track like you're supposed to, and you taking that, and let's get that duplex or whatever you're trying to do, and raise some money from some of the rents. But hey, it's all good. It's all good. Don't have to worry. You have been taught by the best, Miss Demetra.
So proud of y'all. I'm so proud of y'all. Jaira, you going to Paris, girl.
And everybody else out there, if you want to know more about Financially Alive and Free, holla at us at www.aliveandfree. Stay alive and free. We'll tell you all about it. Okay, good night, everybody. Let's get up
Good
and
night.
take care of our money.
Thank
Okay?
you, Miss
All right.
Demetra.
Thank y'all.
Nice to see you, Demetra, Mrs. Stell, Dr. Marshall.